Well, hi everyone. So now it happened in Stockholm, and of course we saw it coming. Of course it was going to happen that there would be an Islamist terrorist attack at some point in the Nordic countries because they have been following the same exact political patterns that these countries in Western Europe, like France or Germany, and of course the uncontrollable immigration and very loose immigration policies landed them in the situation in which they are now. Like in Germany, 400,000 reported crimes by asylum seekers a year, terrorist attacks everywhere. And it was interesting to follow the aftermath of the attack because you could sense it in the left wing that they immediately knew that it was an Islamic terror attack. Like some people tried to tell me, okay, don't jump into conclusions. It might be something else. And of course it wasn't. And they knew it just as well as we did. So what they were hoping for, what they really were praying for, was that let it not be an asylum seeker. That's what they were hoping for. And of course it turned out he was. First, the Swedish police tried to make it very vague that he was an asylum seeker. They simply said that he had applied for a residency permit and he had been denied. So even the Finnish public broadcasting said it that okay, he's not an asylum seeker, he applied for a residency permit. But of course everybody who knows anything about this terminology knows that applying for a residence permit doesn't mean that you aren't an asylum seeker, because asylum seekers also apply for a residency permit. They simply applied for a different reason than usual. They applied because they are seeking for international protection. But some other people might apply for a residency permit because of work or studies. So then it turned out that yes, it was an asylum application he had left, and that he had claimed that he had been the victim of torture in his home country, Uzbekistan, which is a Sunni Muslim majority country. And this is very frustrating because I cannot help to think we told you so. I know it's cruel to say that, but it's the truth. We kept telling you. And these morons wouldn't fucking listen. We said these illegals who have gotten the negative asylum decision that they must be deported immediately, because if they live here without paperwork, they will commit crime because there's no other way to make a living than to commit crime, and that they will grow frustrated. There are people with very nasty backgrounds in there, and there is a very high likelihood of conflict, and they wouldn't listen. And in Sweden they now have 12,000 asylum seekers who have gotten the negative decision, but they haven't been deported. And in Finland there are also a few thousand of them, and there will be a much larger amount during this summer, because over 10,000 asylum seekers are about to get their final negative decision in the next few months. So we will be stuck with over 10,000 of these guys if our politicians don't speed things up and get these people out of here. And when we visited the asylum seeker demo in Oulu, where the illegals who have received their final negative asylum decision are protesting their deportation, or that they should get out of the country. Nobody's deporting them, because that's not how our officials work. But anyway, they're protesting, and I asked one of these guys, okay, there are people who have terrorist backgrounds. Let's say there's an ISIS terrorist. He comes here, and he very believably tells the same exact story you told us. He tells us that he was persecuted, that there are militias hunting for him in his hometown. So how are we supposed to tell the bad guys from the good guys? How are we supposed to know you aren't an ISIS terrorist? And And the guy really didn't have an answer for me. He simply said that, okay, maybe the interpreters in these asylum investigations can tell the immigration officials that this guy is lying. How's the interpreter supposed to know? He might not even be from the same country. He might be a Finnish person who has no background knowledge of that country. How can he tell that the guy is lying? Like, that's not something we can trust. And people should understand that there is a good reason for why these people have gotten the negative decisions. Like, first of all, the immigration office has given them the negative decision. Then they have filed a complaint. A court has ruled that negative decision to be legal. And then they have filed a complaint to the Supreme Court, and that also has deemed the decision illegal, completely legal. So there must be a good reason for why they didn't get their asylum application approved. So these are people who we don't want into this country. Like, they aren't going to be in any way constructive members of this society. But still, nothing is being done about it. And for example, from over here in Finland, nobody's being deported basically to Iraq against their will. Because a lot of these asylum seekers, when they come here, they have tossed their paperwork. So they have no real ID. So when they get a negative decision, the Finnish officials have a very hard time proving which country they came from. And Iraq won't take these guys back if we can't prove that they are Iraqi. So we are stuck with them. And we need to get this deportation contract done with Iraq, as we have with Afghanistan, that we can just send these guys back. And of course, the first and foremost solution is to just close the borders. Don't let this problem come in. All these problems, they could be so easily solved. Like, we wouldn't have to talk about if we have to increase the amount of police officers because of this threat of terror. We wouldn't have to talk about the rise in sex offense. We wouldn't have to talk about integration issues or lack of capable interpreters. These problems, they wouldn't exist. We wouldn't have them if we simply didn't let these people in. We aren't saving the world by taking these people in. There are over 1 billion people on this planet who live on either a war zone or under extreme poverty. So Finland, if we took in, say, 100,000 of them, that wouldn't make any difference in the world situation. It wouldn't improve in any way the situation in the home countries of these people. It would still be terrible. The only result would be that we would also make our own country terrible. We would ruin our own country in the process without helping anyone, without changing anything. So it's absolutely not worth it. So we need to get this thing going. We need to get these deportations running. We need to close the borders. We need to get officials who are actually capable, who know what they are doing, who aren't completely incompetent as the people we now have, who don't know anything about anything. And we are running out of time. Like, this is a problem we cannot reverse. This needs to be done beforehand. If we let these people in and they get settled here, there's no way to reverse the process. So we need to act now. And I'm sorry to say, but we told you so. So it now happened in Stockholm, and if we don't change our policies, it will happen in Finland. And there are people who actually say that, okay, but there haven't been no terrorist attacks in Finland this far. Yeah, this far, but following the same policy that has brought terror in all other countries won't get us any better results. That's simply how it is. So I'm a bit frustrated about this, and I hope things will change. I hope people won't forget about this attack. Thank you for listening, and bye.